Welcome to This Explainer, everyone. Okay, today we are tackling a truly fascinating paradox. Have you ever wondered why incredibly intelligent, highly successful people, we're talking engineers, doctors, brilliant entrepreneurs, consistently fail when they try to trade the financial markets? Right? You'd think they'd crush it. But the answer actually isn't a lack of smarts or even a flawed trading system. It's actually a lot more primal than that, and it goes back millions of years.
Okay, let's dive into this. 2 to 3%. That tiny, almost unbelievable figure represents the actual percentage of traders who are consistently profitable over the long haul. Just 2 to 3%. The rest of the market? Well, they're constantly battling the charts and honestly battling themselves, often wiping out their accounts entirely in the process. It immediately sets the stakes for what we're talking about today. Why on earth is this failure rate so astonishingly high?
Let's get right into Section 1, the evolutionary mismatch, 6 million years in the making. And this brilliantly illustrates the core issue. The number one problem for traders isn't their methodology or their software. It is a profound evolutionary mismatch. You see, when a trader sits down in front of their glowing monitors, they aren't just bringing their modern analytical intellect to the table. Nope, they are bringing a 6 to 8 million year old brain that was hardwired for survival on the African savanna. Evolution built our minds for immediate, life-or-death survival in the moment, not for managing complex financial algorithms. Over on the left, look at the caveman brain. Its absolute biological goal is immediate survival, which requires absolute certainty. It demands to control the outcome, because historically, a lack of control meant you were a predator's lunch. But on the right, the modern trading environment. Its entire existence is based on managing risk and navigating fluid probabilities. The market offers absolutely zero certainty, so when you force a certainty-craving brain into a probability-based environment, you get a massive psychological collision.
The sheer scale of our unconscious programming is honestly staggering. 95% of the decisions we make every single day bypass our rational cognition entirely. 95%. They act strictly on emotional instinct. So, when your trading capital is suddenly at risk, your ancient brain doesn't just see a red number on a screen. It biologically processes that financial threat exactly like a physical threat from a saber-toothed tiger. It triggers a massive fight or flight response, completely hijacking your logical trading plan. Which brings us to a really powerful and super counterintuitive truth. The successful trader wins by being an expert at losing. Think about that for a second. Our ancient biological drive is desperately trying to not lose, because for our ancestors, losing meant death. But in trading, taking small, manageable losses is literally part of the business model. This primal terror of losing totally deranges the mind. It's exactly why perfectionists, people who excel in precise fields like engineering, where everything must be exactly right, often blow up their accounts entirely. Their absolute need to never be wrong becomes their ultimate downfall. Moving on to Section 2, the Alpha Trader Trap, forcing outcomes in a quantum world. This perfectly sets up what we can call the Alpha Trader Trap. Think of the highly successful alpha entrepreneur. These are individuals who have absolutely conquered the traditional business world through sheer force of will, aggressive leadership, and an iron grip on controlling outcomes. They naturally assume that this traditional business acumen and dominance will easily translate into massive market wealth. But here's the catch. Traditional business is almost like Newtonian physics. Large, solid, predictable. You can force outcomes, control your environment, and prove your worth through sheer effort. Trading, on the other hand, is like quantum mechanics. It's microscopic, highly unpredictable, and requires surrendering control to manage probabilities and accept continuous small losses. Applying traditional business rules to the unpredictable mechanics of trading is like trying to use a hammer on a microchip. It just blows up in the alpha's face. To give you a concrete example from our source material, there was this brilliant serial entrepreneur who actually sold a business for multi-millions right out of college. He tried trading and spent 4 years just bleeding money. Why? Because as he eventually admitted, I am not willing to give up control. His greatest superpower in regular business, his absolute demand for control, was his ultimate fatal flaw in the markets. He just couldn't accept that his power in trading had to come from inner performance, not from trying to bend the market to his will. Let's jump to Section 3, the danger of winning, the dopamine trap. So we know losing triggers a survival response, right? But what happens when you actually get it right? Well, that brings us to an incredibly counterintuitive revelation. Experiencing a massive success and winning big can actually be far more dangerous to a trader's account
than a string of losses. Let that sink in for a second. Winning can destroy you faster than losing. When you're just doing normal, everyday market analysis, your dopamine is low and your logic is high. But when you bag a massive, unexpected trade, oh man, biologically, your ancient brain thinks you and your friends just single-handedly hunted a woolly mammoth to feed the village for a year. Your brain just floods with maximum dopamine. It causes a state of euphoria that acts quite literally like a hit of cocaine. Your logic drops to near zero and you become entirely blind to future risk. As this quote emphasizes, failure forces the brain to learn. Success hits the dopamine button and hardwires the pattern. Winning tricks you into this really dangerous state of self-deception, making you think you have the whole market figured out. Failure, on the other hand, if you approach it objectively and without toxic shame, is actually the only mechanism that forces your brain to reorganize its competencies. You have to learn to view losses not as a personal attack on your worth, but as essential, absolute goldmine feedback for your brain to learn. All right, Section 4, Hacking Your Ancient Brain. Physiology precedes psychology. So if our ancient brains are so poorly equipped for all this, how do the 2 to 3% actually survive and thrive? We have to shift to the solution. Because this is a deeply biological problem, you absolutely cannot outthink an emotional hijacking. When your heart rate spikes and the caveman takes over, your logical brain is essentially locked in the trunk. You must intervene physiologically first. Renowned trading psychologist Randy Howell suggests this specific hack. Step 1. Put a mirror or a camera on your desk while you trade. You need to visibly spot the physical tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your fists. Step 2. The moment you see that tension, engage in deep diaphragmatic breathing. You literally have to force your heart rate down to pull your nervous system out of fight or flight mode. And step 3. Awaken your inner observer. Mentally step back and detach yourself from those chaotic thoughts swirling in your head. And once you've calmed the physical body, who takes charge? Well, you need to call upon what Carl Jung termed the ruler archetype. The ruler is the embodiment of emotional discipline and order under extreme pressure. You can picture a stoic Roman centurion holding the line, or someone like Winston Churchill in a crisis. This is the inner CEO that you must consciously awaken to manage the mutinous, panicked committee of your ancient mind. The ruler doesn't panic. The ruler follows the plan. But waking up the ruler isn't just a one-and-done deal. Maintaining this disciplined mind requires relentless vigilance. Intense trading acts like a high-performance muscle car. It absolutely drains your brain's cognitive glucose. After an hour, your mind will get dull. So you must take a break every hour. Set alerts every 15 minutes just to check your mental state. And crucially, you absolutely have to detach your inherent self-worth from your financial transactions. If you tie your value as a human being to your trading performance, the market will break you for sure. Which brings us to the core philosophy of this whole explainer. Trading is the perfect self-mastery. Mastering the external financial markets is completely impossible without first doing the deeply uncomfortable internal work of mastering your own historical beliefs, your hidden fears, and your ancient biology. You really have to look in the mirror and reorganize who you are under pressure. So, as we wrap up this journey into the mind of a trader, I want to leave you with this one critical, provocative question to reflect on. Are you truly trading the markets logically, or is your ancient, survival-driven brain actually trading you? Take a hard look at your last few decisions. Hopefully, this explainer has given you the framework to finally put your logical mind back in the driver's seat. Thanks for learning with me today, and keep mastering that inner game.